Do I hear an approval for the minutes from the April 11th meeting?
Make a motion to approve it, send out.
Second.
Got a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. 3, planned agenda items. A, rezoning request from M1 to A1 or A2. Applicant Randall Sampson, property owner Marty Schindler, located Matlock Trail on Corporate Park Drive, tax map 032, parcel 112.00, M1, General Industrial District, District 1, approximately 8.42 acres. Mr. Randall, I see you back there. Did you want to address this?
I mean, that's pretty much what we're trying to do, is just simply ask for your all's permission to rezone from M1 to A1 on parcel number 032-112.
What are your plans for the property?
Single family residence.
Jim, you want to address this?
Yeah, I can. There's several parcels in that location that are actually in the city that are in one. There's one adjacent parcel still yet in the county, the 111, it's still M1, it's in the county, it's undeveloped, but everything else around it is A1. It was heard by the Loudon City's Planning Commission also, and they made recommendation for approval.
I make a motion we approve the request.
I second the motion.
Got a motion to approve and one to second. Any discussion?
Anybody against it?
Anybody out there in the audience against it?
I'm not against it, I have a question. Is it for one house or for several houses?
It depends on topography. We'll look at that and decide when we met with the surveyor. Right now, it's under contract, so I can't answer the question exactly. With A1 zoning, my understanding is that you can only, you're limited to one residence per acre. So the maximum that would be there, it would be somewhere between 5 and 8.
Any more questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So approved.
Thank
B, rezoning request from A2 to C1 or C2, applicant property owner Todd Claiborne, located 9545 Hotchkiss Valley Road, tax map 019, parcel 088.00, A2, Agriculture Forestry District, District 5, approximately 16/17 acres. Mr. Claiborne, is he here?
He's here.
Come on up. Tell us your plans.
Okay, our plans are to rezone it commercially, and we intend to build a building approximately 170 feet long, 75 feet deep. And the purpose of that is to be for trailer repair and slight truck repair. And by being there, we feel like we could service some of the customers that are already there, which is Mission Transport, 1.2 miles down the street, R&M Trucking, Van Husco, and P&S Transportation. The property, I think, has already got 3-phase power available to it. Water is already there. I have a Tennessee permit for excavating, and I have copies of all this for you, so you could have it on file if need be. And I have the reasons why, 20 of them, actually there's 30 of them. If you'd like to look at those two as to why we want to rezone it and try to create jobs and improve the community, because these jobs that we're talking about are going to be in the $20+ per hour job range. And we plan on employing possibly 50 people once we get going. And I've seen that we probably could use those higher tax dollars, especially over here on the courthouse, instead of out in the hayfield. I think at one time there was an old airstrip, and I'm not sure if that was zoned commercially at that time or not. But we do have a new survey on it, and I do have everything from Colonial Pipeline, where we understand where the pipeline goes across the back of the interstate. I have letters from the state of Tennessee stating what we can cut on the tree line and what we can't cut. 4 inch and larger, that's flowering. And I have all these copies for you, so that is our request, and
Any questions?
Was the road is not, capable of transfer trucks to travel on?
I'm not familiar with that, if it's a state road or not.
It's not a state road. I don't think it's a state road, but on both ends of Hotchkiss Valley, it says no transfer trucks.
Now, these trailers will be empty, they won't be
I
carrying
mean, it
cargo.
don't matter, transfer truck's transfer truck.
Yeah.
You know, you might say it's empty, but, you know, if one's loaded coming off the interstate and need to pull in there, he ain't gonna unload it before he pulls in there. Is everything A1 or A2, Jim?
All the surrounding properties are, yes, sir. I believe the closest, C2 property is up at the Sugar Limb Hotchkiss Valley interchange. You have some C2 properties up there where that trucking company, I believe they are up there, yes, sir.
They've been there for several years.
Yes, sir. So everything, you know, is on, what is that, probably a mile and a half or so up the road. That's the closest C2 to that property. Everything else around it is A2.
You wouldn't happen to have a letter from the road superintendent transferring his restrictions from tractor trailers on Hotchkiss Valley
That I
to?
do not.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be curious if there's others in the room in favor or against the request.
Okay.
So we're against this?
Can you come up here to the podium and give your name and, Mr. Claiborne, you can sit down and we'll get back with you in a moment. We'll get you.
So the four of us live on Cornet Road, which is off of Hotchkiss Valley Road. We do not support this variance request. This is a residential rural area. That road does not support tractor trailers. When the interstate backs up, they tend to come through there as a bypass. And it's not a good route and it does not support it.
It's not wide enough.
Nor when you open that up for commercial property, what says it goes from there? This is a residential area and we want it to stay that way.
Thank you. Yes, sir. The man in the cap, did you have something to say?
Are they planning to widen that road, make it a 4-lane, or what? People don't have, you all ever traveled up that road in the morning, evening? After 10 o'clock at night, you can get up it and down it. Before 6 in the morning, you can. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Mr. Claiborne, you
Not
want to ask?
wide, you gotta run in a ditch to, if you're ready to be big truck right now, one of them gonna have to be in a ditch to get by. And, so, anyway, the road can't handle it. Now, if you make 4-lane out of it, might be okay.
Okay.
No, you didn't know.
Yes, right here.
I
Name,
live close by. I really don't care if this.
and you are?
I'm Edmund Ledford.
Okay.
A 71 plus year resident of Loudon County. I complain about that road a lot to the sheriff's department. I was telling them they make $500 a ticket to keep the tractor and trailers off of it. We've had a tractor and trailer run through a barn out there. I don't know if that lawsuit was ever settled or not. It burnt down. Another building out there burned down too for some reason. But anyway, you don't want to meet a tractor and trailer on that road. It'll raise your pucker factor up to way up above. It'll go off the scale. There is a small culvert right there where the gentleman's driveway is. I always thought that property still belonged to the Hildreths. But anyway, if 2 tractor and trailers are passed right there, one of them, you want to take the sides off both of them. I complained about it so long that they finally put a sign on the Lenore City end of it, which is the east end, no 18-wheelers. Now, I do understand that commission's been down the other end, but it's a little bit wide and they just barely get there. There was a truck stop there before, years ago. So, anyway, if gathering, wants to let him build it, whatever out there, I just let him do it.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a comment and a motion.
This group of people will be held responsible for any deaths.
Mr. Chairman, I think we do have to relook at what we've done just here recently on Hotchins Valley concerning commercial business, running commercial vehicles of such. We denied that request, and with the gallery's comments, with the previous precedents that's been set by the board, I make a motion to deny it this time.
Second.
I've got a motion to deny and a second. Any discussion from the board? All those in favor of the denial signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. B. C. Rezoning request from R1 to C2, applicant Chris Rogers, property owner Gerald Cole, located Lee Highway, tax map 033K, parcels 1.00 through 6.00, R1 Suburban Residential District, C2 General Commercial District 1, District 1. Mr. Rogers here? Mr. Cole here?
I make a motion, we table it.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Take it up next month. D, commercial site plan, applicant property owner Ray Walker, located 7488 Highway 11, tax map 025L, parcel 023.00, C2 General Commercial District, District 5, approximately 1/2 acre. Mr. Walker,
Yes, sir.
what you got?
All I'd like to have is a little storage shed behind my commercial building. My commercial building sits on a hill, and down below is just sloping almost 1 acre of grasslands. The storage building would be just simply for lawnmower, weed eaters, paint, things like that, to keep it out of the main building. The commercial property at the present time is being used as a dog obedience school. Been there about 1.5 years. And so there would be some certain amount of dog food, things like that would be stored in this little storage shed.
You got dimensions on it?
Oh, yeah, 12 by 20.
12 or 20, okay.
That's a pretty steep hill there, isn't it?
That's pretty, what, sir?
Steep hill behind that business.
Yes, it is, yes. There's a flat area behind the building, but yes, it slopes quite dramatically to the, I believe it's west.
Do these setbacks comply, Jim?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Got a move and second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So,
Thank you.
there's your shed. 4, county commission action on planning commission recommendations. Jim, anything?
Yes, sir. I was trying to think of what we had that went before county commission that I read. I think the last, I went stupid, I apologize. I was
talking
trying to
about
think of the last
Adam Waller?
item we sent.
Adam Waller page?
But I'm gonna discuss this, y'all have some charts on in front of you. This was sent down from county commission Monday night for the planning commission review. So what's being requested is some additional zoning districts, an additional A district, a additional R, a recreation community. In creating these new districts, some of the bigger changes is some of the things that are listed under special exceptions would be taken out of special exception. For instance, mining, landfills, towers, things of those nature would actually be put into an overlay district. Some of your other special exception items would change out. So in the R2, the intent was that, was to put duplexes, multifamily development, whether it's condo developments, townhouses, or apartments, would be put into an R2 development. The biggest change is probably your A zone in creating a A1, A2, A3. So what that would do is, originally was recommended was 5 acres in an A1, 2.5 in the A2, and A3 would be the 1 acre lots. So some of these are, some of the things that are occurring we're not changing lot sizes in the R1 or R2. They're about the same as they were. We handled a few things when we eliminated PUDs in our density of development and sewer availability. So the things we would have to look at, obviously, is what do we want to allow in these zoning districts? And where do you want to create these zoning districts? The biggest setback would be probably the people that are in an A1 or A2 that now have 2 acres. They could subdivide. The A2 would no longer be able to subdivide. It has to stay at at 2.5, and same way for the A1. So, that would cause your larger tracts of property. Of course, if I do have an A2, it's 2.5 acre, the thought premise, well, they could rezone to A3. Well, you probably need to figure out where you want to have A3, or you're basically going to have everybody throughout the county requesting rezoning to A3, which just causes there's no reason in doing this if that's what's going to occur.
So the A1s will be 5 acre lots?
That was what was mentioned through county commission.
Well, it says 2.5 on here.
It did. I met with Commissioner Waller, and we were discussing some of this, what the goals and options were, and that did come down to 2.5. It could land wherever planning and county commission obviously want it to land. I think the intent is to see that we're increasing lot sizes in the A zones, and then creating a new one that should be designated where that needs to occur. Again, creating a zone for an overlay districts. Utilities was one of the things that was mentioned. In this RC zoning district, I think that's community recreational or something like that. We had discussed what we're calling that, but that's gonna be for campgrounds, maybe ballparks, special community facilities, marinas, things of that nature, would be able to rezone it. But that's the thought and the premise to start thinking about, wrap your head around. We'll have to create workshops to discuss this. Adam has checked with ETAD about getting some help in putting this in a resolution form, because obviously when you do this, you're changing basically all your segments of zoning, and that needs to be done properly.
I hope when we get that workshop, we can have Adam there.
I will try to contact him and let him know, and hopefully, I'm sure he'll be willing to attend so we can discuss this. And hopefully by that time, maybe ETAD will be back in contact with us, give us a time frame on working. I do know that he would like to vote on this in August. If that's the case, we have 2 meetings prior to August. That's a lot of work to accomplish between now and then. But if you have any thoughts, by this next workshop will be a good time to present it, thinking about what it causes, what may occur, and maybe where, again, we have mapping, we have land use maps. I don't know if they're available online, but that might be where it might be beneficial to look at that and say, okay, if rather than having the whole county rezoning to an A1 to go back to 2, maybe these are the parts of the county that need to stay larger tracts, and vice versa. Nothing to vote on tonight, just want to bring it to your.
Anything from the codes department?
Nothing further.
Any comments, additional comments from the public? Want to weigh in on anything? Update from the planning department.
That was it.
Do I have a move to adjourn this meeting? Got a move? Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a move and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I was just for my.
BZA, you're next.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were closing the whole meeting.
We're just swapping out committees here.
I've never done this before.
Other end of
I think everybody but one would have had.
If I'm gonna stick to, I like Ross Jenkins, but I think we told them that there, triangle where the old antique place, or say,
This is our office.
They'll sugar it's on the left. Anyways, I told them they could work. They could get it out. So those two, you might go. But that's it, you know, that, and the spirit of sense of presence.
Well, they widen the road all the way out to, right there before it drops off the hill down to the barn that they run the truck road right there. They widened the road back when they built that truck stop years ago, or the snake pit. Huh? Not yet, I ain't got time.
Let me know what you like.
Well, the bad thing about it is it's gonna cross that fiber line. I mean, it only needs to be one.
I put that, I think.
I got plows,
I'll let it go this way.
I didn't say nothing, I just gathering hay all over the road.
Ready to call the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. Anybody that's gonna speak in this meeting needs to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn in.
Have a great day.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you may give in the causes now pending before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, be seated. Roll call.
Ron Bright. Here. Jim Brooks.
Here.
John Napier.
Here.
Leon Shields.
Here.
Mike Waller.
Somebody read the minutes.
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Planned agenda items. Item A, variance request to replace accessory building in front yard. Applicant property owners Stephen and Maria Kuhn, located 342 Trigonia Road, tax map 084, parcel 165.00, A2 Rural Residential District, District 3, approximately 1 acre. You Mr. Kuhn?
I'm Mr. Coon. I'm Steve Coon. All right, last time I was here, is this Jim? Is that your name?
Yes, sir.
Jim made a very eloquent, presentation on what was acceptable and what's not on a neighbor's property. Is there anything that you can say that I would miss on this? Cause I don't know all the guidelines and stuff like this, but he did a great job on the last time. And I just thought, you know, his recommendation or his thoughts might be a thing. All we're trying to do is put up a pole barn to put our cars in. The garage that's currently there is not, you can't drive a truck in it, the garage doors are too low, and so we need a place to park some toys and get them off the front yard. And we're just trying to accomplish that. We'd like to put it in the backyard, but there's a septic tank and a fence, and a well house restricting us from going around the house to go in the backyard. So we're talking about just on the corner of the house towards this, to the side. So it's just a garage.
What do you think, Jim?
Y'all have, just adding what he said, of course, he had explained to me when he was talking about doing this, the rear of the lot, I believe has, some rock issues, which I've heard others agree with, neighbors. But y'all do have what was submitted, this gentleman couldn't be here tonight, I'm bad with names.
Bailey?
Webster Bailey could not be here tonight, so he did send a letter of concern in regards to this. He wasn't opposed to the building being placed in the front yard. He was concerned with the setbacks off property lines. He sent out 2 documents. The first one requested 20 feet. I will say that in his zoning district, a setback is required to be 20 foot for a principal structure. Accessory structure is allowed to be 5 feet, but those accessory buildings are also supposed to be setting in the side or the rear lot. I think it's not out of a far stretch that if this were allowed to be done, then 5 feet to the property line would be pretty close in a front yard setback, and so a more restrictive setback might be in order. This gentleman also described in his letter what he described as discrepancies in a survey that was submitted and a site plan which was submitted. This gentleman submitted a little bit better site plan than we see, but some of the discrepancies I saw were just notations at different points, not necessarily in the lots. Our office does not determine where lot lines are. It's up to the property owner to identify the property lines and make sure he meets the setbacks, or they meet the setbacks up those property lines. He wanted to make sure that the property line was established, and maybe there's been some issues with runoff, wanted a comprehensive drainage plan, grading plan. We don't do comprehensive grading plans for a small accessory building on a residential lot. I would say that if this were approved, to consider the setback location you'd want to approve it at, and that the property owner be aware that they need to be able to identify the property line so our inspectors can note that distance from the property line. They identify the pins, they pull a string line, we'll pull a measurement off of that.
Was the gentleman that sent that letter the neighbor?
Yes,
A
sir.
neighbor?
Yes, sir.
Next door neighbor?
Yes, sir.
Can I make a comment?
You can.
He's purchased the property, he lives a mile and a half down around the road. He put a trailer on the side of the house that we have to look at every day we come out. So the buildings actually will be a blocking of a trailer in total disrepair. Siding's coming off. I'm sorry, it's poorly done. Now,
Let me say
I'm a little bit
something.
upset.
Let me
okay?
say something.
So, and when it comes.
Let me say something.
Okay.
I ain't got no problem with granting you your exception for
Thank
the
you.
5 foot. But I got a problem with arguing over lot lines. We ain't arguing over lot lines.
I agree.
If we give you an exception, you're just gonna fight it out over your lot lines. You got to go to court, do whatever you want to. We ain't getting involved in that. This guy has absolutely wore me out. And I could care less who's dug up what pin and what pins put where. But that's something y'all going to have to find out. And if we give you an exception, you go by what you think, and if he don't agree with it, that's your off, baby.
I accept that. We paid like $4,500 to do a
I
survey.
understand that.
We did everything right because.
And I agree with Jim, you've got a good survey here, and he's got chicken scratching on a piece of paper. That's, pardon the expression, but that's what it is. So, I've said my side. Anybody else got
The
anything?
the only thing is from the side of the house to the, property line, it's like 40 feet. I was wanting to put a, building that was 30 by 50. And we'll rotate it, so, because the plans change, right? So I might be really close to a 10-foot, 5-foot barrier there. So 20 foot would hurt the situation. 5 foot would be awesome. And
If it has any bearing, this gentleman didn't have a problem with 10 foot, as long as, the lot lines were correct and there wasn't runoff issues. As I see it, stormwater plan is not gonna be, something we look at, a comprehensive stormwater plan. I've not been to the site to see what's occurring, but, the property owner shouldn't be creating more runoff with this building than what was occurring.
How far away is the garage that's, on this map, there's a garage, closer to the road? How close is it? I mean, are you gonna be lined up with it, or are you gonna be?
yeah, we're hoping to be exactly in line with it. The current garage is 30 feet deep and it's 5 feet from the back of the property line. we were hoping that it would have been nice to have it or faced with it, but with the size of the garage we're looking to put in there, we're gonna be just sneaking out over there in the property line. So we kind of rethought about putting the house or the garage up against the house, and we kind of changed the whole scenario. If we don't get the zoning of the 10 feet, we can put it out right next to the garage and it'll be fine. So as things go, somebody came up with a great design, looked on the house, and so the front of the house will look like all one building versus 3 buildings out there.
Well, are you wanting is he wanting an exception to build it in the front yard, or is he wanting an
Yes.
exception for a lot line?
He's wanting the exception to build in the front yard, and then those setback distances will come into play, so.
But I mean, he's not asking for an exception to the setback distance.
It is not, no, sir. So
For
our
his
current
property.
regs, accessory buildings are 5 feet
Right,
off the side.
that's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else? Anybody in the audience got anything?
I need to stand again.
Yeah,
Tell you
stand
who
up.
I am?
I don't remember who you are.
I was told not too long ago by a party in the permitting, where you get your building permits, whatever, that if you were building a pole barn or a structure that didn't have a footer, it just, as long as the setbacks were legal, you just like do whatever you want to. That
You're a good
still
man,
correct?
sit down.
And you saying you're not yes, and he's shaking his head no.
That's not correct.
Well, you always, when you build something, and I'm the chairman of the BZA, but when you build something, you always build a barn.
Exactly.
When you build a barn, you ain't gotta get a permit on it. And I didn't say that.
I didn't hear it.
This is gonna be a fancy bar. It's gonna be a
But
nice
that
bar.
is, what you're saying is the truth. I mean, and Jim probably don't agree with me, but a barn's a barn, and that's an agricultural structure, and you don't have to have a permit on
Well,
it. He ain't gonna say nothing.
there are barn dominiums.
Yeah, but that's a different. Anybody else got anything?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. And all I said is, if you get in a dispute over the property line, that's your old baby. Don't come back down here. We ain't
But
gonna
this-
solve your
The
property
dispute's
line.
up near the barn because he thinks he has 5 more feet.
I don't wanna hear it.
Everything else is
I don't wanna
fine.
hear it.
Everything else is not
We ain't
good.
getting into that.
But I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Item B, variance request to build addition on existing structure which interferes with setbacks. Applicant property owner Don Roy, located 1275 Bradshaw Hollow Road, tax map 039, parcel 092, A1, agricultural forestry district, District 4, approximately 1.3 acres. What you got?
I'm adding on to a barn, just kidding. I actually have an existing, it was a garage, but I want to add on to it and turn it into a house. And the one boundary, I think it's supposed to be 30 feet, but I need an extension for it to be 10 feet because that structure is already there, so it's been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
This is where you're needing the variance?
Yes, that's. the
So it's
one.
gonna be a side yard, which is required to be 20.
Okay.
I think she's A1, so yeah, she's supposed to be 20 feet. So I think this property's been subdivided also, right? And now you're turning this into the dwelling.
This is the subdivision, correct,
Yeah.
of a previous.
Yeah, I'm turning this into a dwelling, so she's coming in to obtain permits to do the additions, convert the garage into the dwelling. Obviously, the existing garage is 10
Which
feet
is,
off the side.
which on here?
Let's see, okay.
That's a different picture now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I may
so
approach
that's the square one on
this
the
right
top.
here, correct?
That's the one I wanna
Yep.
add to, yes.
Yeah, that's what we got. That ain't
Yeah,
that.
this is the location
That
of it.
blue.
This is the garage you
Yes,
turn
sir.
into a house.
Yes, sir. And the property's been subdivided, so.
And that displays.
But
the
you're not
division.
wanting to go over what this is. You're wanting to make it a house and that's different setback.
It is,
But
yes.
she's not gonna move it really.
correct?
No, and you're not encroaching further, you're just adding.
I'm going out this way and then out this way, so
Yeah.
nothing will change, it's just that I didn't meet that criteria.
It's different for a house than a accessory.
It is.
Anybody else got anything? You got anything on that?
No,
Okay.
go for it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the variance.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, you're good.
Good luck with your project.
Item C, variance request to live in accessory building apartment while building new home will remove components of second dwelling when certificate of occupancy is received. Applicant property owner John Gardner, located 1843 Carter's Chapel Road, tax map 014, parcel 038.03, A2 residential district, District 5, approximately 5 acres.
Right.
You, Mr. Gardner?
I'm John Gardner, yes.
Okay.
We took and, when we wanted to build a barn or accessory building, I don't know.
Everybody's wanting to build barns now.
Yeah, and, anyway, so when we came to do that, to get a building permit for us, they said it had to have you had to do a living space first. So we put a little apartment in that barn, and now we're wanting to build a house on top of a hill. And, we wanna take and convert that to, like this building storage.
You're wanting to live in your barn until you get the
Yeah,
house.
it'd be, yeah.
And then you're gonna tear all the, I assume you got a bathroom and stuff.
I got a bathroom, but I think we can have a bathroom and stuff like that in an accessory building, but whatever components you're talking about removing, I don't know.
Is this one of the aviation hangars
Yeah,
through there?
mhm.
Now, you've been there for a while though already, haven't you?
About a year or so,
Living in it?
yeah,
Yeah. So you're already dwelling in
yeah.
the accessory?
In the accessory building, but what we're gonna do is put a house on top of the hill, and put a house on top of the hill, they say you can't have two dwellings on that property. If you wanna give me a variance for that, that'd be good, so.
So how long do you think it's gonna take to build your house?
Oh, good Lord.
We typically only grant those up to about 6 months.
To get started.
Oh, to get started?
Yeah, to prove
Oh,
that
cause you
you're,
can't build nothing in 6 months right now, I mean.
There's usually a time limit that goes with it. That's why we ask. We usually
How long
don't
you
just
think you
give an
need?
open ticket.
Oh, Lord, it took us over a year to do that little apartment. Of course, hopefully the house will go better because it's a bigger job, but, it's getting people to show up. I mean, if the economy goes down, then people will show up and I'll be, they'll be asking me for work. But right now, I couldn't tell you how long it's gonna take to build, but I'd say if you could build in a year, you'd be lucky, I mean, in today's environment. Cause,
anybody in the audience got anything? Anybody else got anything? What do you think? I think we gotta put a time limit on it, and you could come back if you have to and get it extended. But we
Okay.
generally like.
Now, did
Leon
you have
said-
permission to live in the?
He
accessory
actually
structure?
has a permit for the dwelling, that's where, there's an apartment in this building, so
Okay.
it's actually a single-family dwelling.
But he's gonna
Okay.
build another
He's
home
gonna
on the
build a
same
home,
parcel.
I think they had different plans, those plans have
And
changed.
he's
Now they
agreed,
wanna
he's
build a
gonna
permanent.
move out, not, anybody isn't gonna live in accessory building.
Right,
I'm
And-
his wife, no one's living there.
and they'll be removing, you can't have all the components in that constitutes a dwelling, you can have a bathroom and a garage, but we don't.
But not an Airbnb or.
Right.
no,
Right, we'll take out the kitchen, whatever it takes to make that, and of course, they'll know that it can't be rented out as a dwelling.
I would say in coordinates of what our normal operation is by the board, I would make a motion to approve and give a 6-month cap. That's typically what we grant.
okay.
6 months to start.
You can come back.
Yeah.
You can
I would
come
say
back.
there's,
You can ask for a continuance, but
Yeah.
it's a time limit to just keep you from living there full time.
Okay,
There's some kind of meat in the game.
If you come back and you're working on it, you'll get 6 more months.
Right.
It ain't no
because
problem.
I'm just telling you, I mean,
I know what you're saying, I understand, don't tell me nothing about working.
yeah.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
You got 6 months, we'll see you in 6 months.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
Item D, variance request to obtain building permit without county road frontage. Applicant property owner Steve Spell, located 1221 Grimes Road, tax map 048, parcel 083.00, R1 Suburban Residential District, District 1, approximately 39.96 acres.
Yes, sir. I'd just like to have a variance.
You ain't got no road frontage?
I have 25 feet the way it's set up right now. I believe 25 or 30 feet, I'm not positive on the actual footage of it, but there's one driveway into the 67 acres.
That's a right of way though, it's not actual fee simple road frontage. This is the parcel here. This is an old road and it may, there was a name for that, somebody may remember this, it comes from Grimes to Steaky. And it's
not Sticky Creek, is it?
No, I forget, there was a road name for that, and I do not recall what it was at this point, but it's a gravel road, and, obviously it's not on the county tax records as a maintained road, so as far as we know, you have a right of way in and out of the property.
So it's really just something that it's a special circumstance just to clean it
The
up.
only place it hits is that neck sticking out right there on the road.
Well, and see, that's not a county road, that's the problem.
I make a
Is
motion
there a
to.
road anywhere around it?
It comes back to Grimes, that right of way does come back to Grimes, yes.
That's not Green Road, is it?
No,
Where's the road that it hit?
that double yellow line where that skinny neck is.
That's what I said.
Is an old right of way.
But that's not a road.
That's not a county approved road.
Is that how you get into it?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Has anybody stopped you? Or who owns it, or?
No, I've got a buddy of mine that's living out there right now. There's one house with a barn on this 67 acres, and I wanna buy it and leave them there and just build a house.
Motion to approve.
Anybody else got anything?
Second
Got a motion? Second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, you're good. What have I left off, Jim? Does anybody else got anything?
Move to adjourn.
Well, we missing something? Anybody else got anything to say? You got anything else to say? Okay, we're good. Got a motion? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Good.